National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu today in Kaduna is defending the Tinubu government and securing Nigeria. He says Boko Haram attacks, banditry and coming out of conflicts in the northern Nigeria have reduced drastically in the last 2 years. And tonight, we shall be speaking exclusively with the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, on the state of education after the launch of the Diaspora Bridge Initiative yesterday in Abuja. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I am Sean Wakimale here in Abuja. Let me take you to Kaduna quickly. It's been a conversation about what this government is really doing. So the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, said that Boko Haram attacks, banditry, and communal conflicts in the northern region have reduced drastically in the last 2 years of President Tinubu's administration compared to what the situation was in the last administration. He was citing and giving an example and stating that about 1,192 people were killed and over 3,348 people kidnapped in Kaduna State during the previous administration, while more than 5,000 people lost their lives in the Benue State within the same period. He gave an instance that 1,190 people were killed and over 3,000 kidnapped in Kaduna State during that previous administration, while in that same period, 5,000 were killed in Benue State. He says, in the last 2 years of this administration, a lot of kidnapped victims have been rescued and a lot of attacks have been repelled. Let's have you with some of your political roundup stories. And when we come back, I know you have a lot of questions in relation to the education system in Nigeria. There are a lot of Nigerians who are willing to get out on the very first flight out of this country. After a lot of education here, issue of brain drain is there. What is the Diaspora Bridge? A lot of issues on the ground. JAMB, wire controversy, ASUU lecturer strike, and a litany of issues. The Minister of Education and the Minister of Education will be answering tonight. We'll be back after we've served you your political roundup stories.
The Senate Committee on Public Accounts has given Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, 21 days to provide detailed explanation of financial discrepancies totaling 210 trillion naira. But at the session, the Group MD pleads for more time to respond adequately. Appearing before the committee today in response to an earlier summons, the Group Managing Director of NNPCL, Mr. Bashir Julari, stated that he required more time to properly study and understand the issues flagged in the company's audited financial statement covering the period from 2017 to 2023. Some lawmakers further expressed dissatisfaction with the company's posture, accusing NNPCL of showing disregard for the committee. They argued that the NNPCL boss's plea for more time was not sufficient and questioned why Mr. Ojulari appeared to be unfamiliar with the details despite sending representatives to earlier hearings. The First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has donated 1 billion naira to victims of attacks in the Yelwata community of Benue State to help rebuild their lives. Mrs. Tinubu made the presentation at the new banquet hall of the Benue State Government House, during a state visit to commiserate with the government and people of the state following the killings of 200 persons in Yelwata on June 13th. Governor Aysan Alia is calling for state police for quick-time response to security breaches. Meanwhile, the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress has unveiled its House of Representatives candidate in the forthcoming by-election into the Remo Federal Constituency. The candidate, Adeshola Elebeji from Shagamu Ward 4, is to replace the late House of Representatives Deputy Chief Whip, Oriyomi Onanuga, who died on the 15th of January this year. Speaking at the event, the state governor, Dr. Abiodun, asked members from the 3 local government areas, which makes up the Remo Federal Constituency, to close ranks and ensure victory for the party in the by-election slated for the 16th of August this year. As the Independent National Electoral Commission gets set for another round of voters registration across the country, former Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki has asked party members across the country to partake in the exercise to enable them exercise their franchise during the next general election. Dr. Saraki, while briefing some selected members of the party across the 16 local government areas of Kwara State, says it is an important exercise as election starts with the voters' registration. Meanwhile, the governor of the Ebonyi State, Francis Nwifu, has suspended the Attorney General, 24 other commissioners, 22 permanent secretaries, including 14 senior special assistants, 24 special assistants, following failures to attend an important government function. In a statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Monday Uzo, and obtained by Channel Television, the commissioners and all the political appointees are to proceed on 1 month working suspension with immediate effect without salary payment. The Governor also directed that the affected commissioners and all the political appointees are prohibited from signing any official document within the 1 month period of their working suspension. Lastly, as part of sustained efforts to tackle cases of insecurity nationwide, the Inspector General of Police, Kaude Betokun, has announced the arrest of over 5,000 suspected criminals and the rescue of 170 kidnapped victims across the country between June and July 2025. At a strategic meeting with Deputy Inspector General DIGs, Assistant Inspector Generals AIG, and State Commissioners of Police, IGP Egbetokun says the force is committed to proactive, intelligence-driven, and community-rooted policing to combat the rapidly evolving security landscape. The IGP also announces that the police recovered 316 firearms, 2,884 rounds of ammunition, and 216 stolen or unregistered vehicles from various operations across the country.
Between June and July 2025 alone, we recorded the arrest of 5,488 criminal suspects involved in offenses ranging from kidnapping and armed robbery to coercion and homicide. We recovered 316 firearms, 2,884 rounds of ammunition,
Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. Let's tell you some news from the oil and gas sector. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals has withdrawn its lawsuit against the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, the NMPDRA, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, and 5 other petroleum companies. The case filed at the Federal High Court of Abuja was formally withdrawn by the plaintiff's legal team according to a notice of discontinuance filed before the court. Dangote Refinery resolved to end the proceedings against all 7 defendants, including AYM Shafa Limited, AA Rano Limited, T-Time Petroleum Limited, and 2015 Petroleum Limited, and Matrix Petroleum Services Limited. In the notice, no official reason was given for its decision to discontinue the case, and details of the decision, including the relief sought and whether an out-of-court settlement was reached, remain unclear. Of course, you saw yesterday that the federal government formally launched the Diaspora Bridge Initiative, a flagship platform aimed at connecting Nigerian professionals abroad with local educational and research institutions through structured collaborations. At the unveiling event yesterday in Abuja, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, described the program as a bold transformative step by the Federal Ministry of Education to strengthen our nation's intellectual capital, global partnerships, and research capabilities. So tonight, we shall be speaking with the Education Minister, Dr. Tunji Alausa, over issues on the Nigerian education landscape, from the launch of the Diaspora Bridge platform, conceived to mobilize Nigerian professionals abroad into research, development, and teaching partnerships with our local institution, to the ongoing fallout from the 2025 UTME crisis, where a staggering 379,997 candidates were forced to resit after technical glitches and disrupted exams in 157 centers. We also demand some clarity, accountability, and a vision for reforms. And that's just the beginning. We will engage also on the ministry stance on wide controversies, the unresolved tension around ASUU and lecturers, the welfare, the debates over age rules for university entry, the creeping brain drain among academics, and the urgent need to raise educational standards, all under one roof tonight. Asking not just what's being promised by this government, but what Nigerians can expect going forward. I'm being joined by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, who is live for us here in ASUU. It's a pleasure having you join us tonight, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Sheon.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here always.
Thank you so much. Give us an understanding. We heard so much. A lot of us who watched that event yesterday, which was on a live broadcast. The bigger question is this. What advantage is that connection, that platform? What will it do for Nigerians? How many jobs will it create here? What effect will it have on the standard of education? What should Nigerians be expecting from this? Why is this, or how is this different from whatever we're seeing in the education sector in Nigeria in the past years?
Thank you. A lot of advantages that it will have on the education system. A significant transformation that's gone into our education system in the last 12 to 18 months. We're beginning to see a lot of positive results. But before I come to your question, let me just vindicate the reporting you just did by the NSA on security situation in the country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is delivering for Nigeria and is delivering big time. The president campaigned on so many things, and we're seeing the president meeting his promises to Nigerians. Now, fuel subsidy gone, foreign exchange arbitrage gone, security significantly better all over the country. Farmers have gone back to farm. We're seeing bumper harvest. Food prices are going down, and they remain at those low, at those reduced prices. Extensive infrastructure going on across the country. And for the first time since 1925 or 1935 or so, we now have a tax code that will ensure more money comes to the coffer of the government. As the government gets more money, the federal government gets more money, the state gets more money, and the local government gets money. What would that lead to? Significant improvement in infrastructure, human capital development, better quality of life. So, this president is delivering. This president has so much passion to improve this country, and we've seen it. The country is fundamentally changed for better and in a sustainable manner. Now, let me now answer your question.
Hold on, Minister, before you get into it. There are those who have described this government as theoretical professionals without practical evidence.
What are you talking about?
There are those who say there's the policy framework and the theory about it. Yeah, but what are the evidence?
Every single sector for you now. People just are blind. They don't. Let's get out of this political rhetorics. Let's see the fact. We're seeing it. The country is much better. It's more safer. There's increased prosperity in the country. I'm telling you. Our macroeconomic indicators are much better. I didn't make it. The president did not make it. Look at the GDP growth. Look at the report that came out from the National Bureau of Statistics, that those reports are subjected to international standards. Goldman Sachs, everybody, those are the reports they look and come to every time. More increased, significant improvement in agriculture. We now have more agriculture contributing more to the GDP than oil sector. Look at the infrastructure development. Look at all the safety net program, the money the president is dedicated, the significant budgetary allocation to health, education, social protection, infrastructure, security. So let's face it.
I know you're an empirical analyzer and you're a scholar. You're coming from that sector, and it's easy for you to look at things in a more didactic and in a more empirically fact-based scenario. But, Minister, it is not a fact that this government, when it got into office, plunged Nigeria into those indices that are negative. And yes, the figures are getting better in the last 1 year.
Okay.
But what about the fact that have we forgotten that this government plunged Nigeria into all of the rates that we are seeing economic-wise?
Shem, with all due respect to you, what you just said, absolutely false.
Okay.
The country was on the verge of bankruptcy. This president literally saved this country from bankruptcy. Look at it. I'll give you in a more microcosmic picture. We're spending money that we did not have, subsidizing fuel subsidy to the tune of almost $1.2 billion a month. Foreign exchange subsidy of almost $500 million a month.
were borrowing this money. Or significant amount of it had been leveraged by frontier selling those or getting those money resources in. Now, you look at yourself, look at your household today. If you had to use if you were using your credit card to pay your electricity bill, to buy your foodstuff, to pay your rent, and the money you were getting in every month is not enough to even service the interest on those credit cards, what will happen to you? Month over month, you get deeper and deeper and deeper. And this president decided that he would take those difficult decisions so that we will it's like taking short-term pain for long-term benefit. And that's what we're seeing. Now investors are coming in. There was significant capital flight from the country. No one was investing. Now it's changed. People are coming, and as you see President travel all across the country that is going to, this is a different way of government conducting businesses. President will go, make sure these are deliverable. He uses its big political will to get those investors to come in. And that's what we're seeing. Things have changed dramatically in this country. But people, the naysayers will never see it. But guess what? The country is getting better day by day. And now the tunnel is not too far. We've seen the light. Things are better. And those are not data that were created by the president. These are data, international data that are validated. And for you to have a sustainable development, month over month, year over year, people have to trust. Investors must trust your economic fundamentals. They knew before that we're subsidizing a forex exchange. We didn't see the value today. Naira. If you go to South Korea currency at exchange for 1,500 to $1 for so many decades, it's still like that. Naira is still like that with the last stability of a foreign exchange in the last 18 months. Stable. But guess what? If you now look at the PPL, the price parity ratio of Naira, today, from Naira being overvalued when the president came in, today, local economists, Naira is now undervalued. So this is phenomenal improvement.
Dr. Alausa, Dr. Alausa, if we get into economic analysis, a bit of my area of expertise is political economics. So we might need 3 hours to get into it.
Let's go
but it's education that we are here for. But I'm not a blind Nigerian, and I see when things are improving. Give it to this government. In terms of GDP growth, when this government came into power, GDP growth was around 2.9%, but it's projected to be around 4.17%. Yes. What everybody can see clearly. There are a lot of people who say, yes, the decision of the president to decide on scrapping fuel subsidy, politically right. But what are the buffers that we should have given us? Because you know what that decision did to us? It plunged inflation, food inflation went up, transportation costs went up. Minister, do you know what a lot of things, what that also costs? The average spending capital and the capability of average Nigerian drop because of these indices that have changed. And if you go on and on, you see all of these indices that have been highly impacted, and all the indices went into the red. Yes, things are improving, and we've seen some of the indices in areas, and there are significant areas that this government needs to look at in fixing. But economics is not why we're here. Education is why we're here. Yes, there are areas that this government is getting it right, but there are also areas that Nigerians are not feeling it. And that's why some people have criticized this government to say, it's a theoretical government, we need to see practice. Let's go into
this is a practical-based government. Macroeconomic indicators are significantly better. Before you get microeconomic indicators better, this is just the way things are. Once you have
the hopes, I just pray that the hope that this government preaches is actually going to be realized.
It's being realized already.
There are millions of hopeless Nigerians out there, not because they want to be hopeless, but just because the economy has drastically been impacted by the policy of this government. How you're going to turn that around is what Nigerians are waiting for. You have less than a year and a half, just about a year and a half to get that done.
We're turning it around. Let me talk about education. How the significant improvements that have happened in the education sector. And this is one area. Go to health, go to social protection. I can talk and talk, but I don't want us to derail on the key thing. You've asked a big question on Bridge that we launched yesterday. Bridge is bridging research, innovation, development, and global engagement. This is the first time in the history of the country that we're tapping into the vast resource of our diaspora population there. You know, Nigerians, we excel everywhere in the world. Go to anywhere, we excel. Now, this is a coordinated, technological-based platform that we're using to connect our diaspora professionals with our local tertiary institutions, our universities, our polytechnics, our colleges of education, and our research institutions. So what Bridge does is that the professionals abroad will go, register, put their areas of interest, their specialties, they get vetted, they will tell us how they want to support our tertiary institutions and our research institutions locally. It's an area of manpower development, curriculum review, co-creation of lectures, or in areas of research. Once they show that, on the back end of the platform, the universities and the polytechnics and college of education and research institutions would have registered the areas of need. We're using technology to now match and connect. And now, this is different. There are several areas they can now decide. You could do virtual lecturing. And we saw that yesterday. We saw at the launch, students at University of Jos were being lectured from South Carolina. This is opening up the global space.
So just for a moment,
yeah.
Let's get it. And it's getting exciting, right? So let's imagine, and you lived an awful lot of years in the United States. And if you are a lecturer sitting, teaching what you know how to teach best in the area of medicine, so you could be a lecturer sitting in America, teaching students in the University of Abuja.
Absolutely. That's what the Bridge is about to do. That's what it's doing. Yes.
What about student exchange programs?
Yes, it's not about students. Yes, of course, there'll be opportunities. As you co-mentor this, there's also going to be mentorship. And now you now expose the student to the global opportunities that they can have. These diaspora professionals can give them exchange program in their local institutions, in their research institutions, wherever they are in the world.
How many of these
This is a game-changing initiative in the history of education in our country. And guess what? This is the mandate that President Bola Ahmed has given us as minister, that we need to reintegrate the diaspora professional into the country. They don't need to come physically. They don't need to come and live here. He wants them to come and live here, as they continue to create opportunities for tens of thousands of diaspora professionals. But this is direct mandate from the president, and that's why we've quickly moved to actualize his mandate. As we're actualizing his mandate, his specific instructions on how he wants us to improve education in this country. You know, this president believes fervently and benevolently in human capital development. And when you're talking about human capital development, what are you talking about? Education, health, social protection. Education is the central piece of
Minister, before we go too far, because I want our viewers to understand what this is. Yes, there will be room for improvement, but let's look at the advantage and the low-hanging fruit in all of this. I imagine, so it's going to be a choice of a student to pick which institution he wants to have an exchange or handshake with. Is that the situation? How can any student who is watching us tonight, how can they tap into it? How can they gain the knowledge and the exchange?
Actually, university is institution-based.
Okay.
The universities will decide these are the areas of gap.
The federal universities?
All universities is open to all
private, state,
everybody
and
in the country, every institution in the country. Private, state, and federal. Universities, polytechnic, colleges of education, and research institutions. This is big. Now, these universities will show they've done their own gap analysis. As of yesterday when we were launching, over 150 institutions have already registered.
They're on board.
On board. On board.
On the
bridge. On the bridge platform. On the tech platform.
What is the bridge platform? What is it? What's the website?
It's a bridge. www.bridge.ng.ng.
That's the bridge.
That's it.
I mean, if you can pull it up, anybody, I like to see what the platform looks like, and let's show our viewers. And I see that there's been a back-end dashboard, data from 11 states already, which I would also like to show our viewers. Because I want people tonight to be able to have so that your government will no longer be called a theoretical government. Let us see the practicality of what you're talking about. So in that sense...
That's the website.
Okay, it's www.diaspora-bridge.ng. www.diaspora-bridge.ng. Let us pull up that platform and let's see how much of benefit this can be for Nigerians. So the university decide, they get into the platform and they see the requisite or the relevant courses and the lecturers from that. Have you picked the university specifically from abroad?
No, students, professionals are using where they lecture and the individual capacity as diaspora professionals to register. So let me walk you through again. For instance, I'm a kidney specialist. I want to lecture, I want to do simulation for medical students at the University of Ilorin. I want to come.
And you are based in?
And I'm based in Chicago.
In Chicago. Okay.
I will go there, put all my demographic, put my qualification, MBBS, attending consultant, internal medicine, nephrology. This is where I work. This is the time I want. This is the kind of volunteerism I want to do. I want to come to Nigeria to spend 3 weeks, or I want to do virtual lecture, or I want to engage in research. So my specialty is to do renal physiology. University of Ilorin might need a lecturer to lecture those medical students in renal physiology, and I'll tell them, okay, I'll take them virtually. I'll commit to set time. I'll give you 2 hours lecture every week or 2 times a week. So with virtually, I'll see the student, lecture them on that platform. And we've also deployed as part of TED, using the learning management system that we're using with TEDFund, platform.
For anyone watching right now, I think it's good for you to jump on. I hope that this platform doesn't crash tonight, as much as people are going. I like my producers. I wish I could manipulate it from here. But I like my producers to punch on some of the icons and the drop down so that people can be able to relate and see how this works. Put it on one angle of the screen as the minister speaks on this, because anything that I see that is good, as soon as I saw this, I put a call through you to say, Minister, can you come and talk about this tonight? And I imagine that a lot of people will benefit from it. And for a moment, I also love, I'm passionate about teaching. I've taught for 4 years before. I would love also to share knowledge. Can people from Nigeria, someone like me who's a professional, can I teach presentation, for example? Can I teach filmmaking? Can I teach media? Absolutely. As I'm in Nigeria, I don't have to be in diaspora.
You don't have to be in diaspora to participate on the bridge, to use the bridge in the platform. This is just to expand capacity to our tertiary institutions and to get the best education to our citizens. What we've started with STEM: science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medical sciences, STEM with 2M. As we move along, we'll expand it to other specialties, other social sciences, law, and those areas. But we're focusing on what we need today to leapfrog the country, to grow this economy the way this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to grow the economy. We're targeting a $1 trillion GDP in the next few years. We need to provide the kind of knowledge, the kind of skill set this country needs to move ahead. We're moving our country from a resource-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. That is the way of the future.
With the Diaspora Bridge partners, I mean, I don't know what you call them now. You call them, what do you call them? Are they volunteers?
Yeah, they're volunteers.
Are they going to be paid?
No, they're not going to be paid.
They're volunteers.
But this is the real thing we've put. We've put government sincerity. We're deploying the might of government sincerity to tell everybody that this government, when we make promises, we mean those. When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu make promises, he never makes fake promises. He means it. He meets those promises with actions. What we've done now if you're coming as a diasporan from abroad, we need you to give us at least 3 weeks. The government will pay your flight, will pay your logistic while you're here, feeding, accommodation, transportation, we'll do that. We'll provide all those logistics for you free by the government. The only thing we won't pay you is stipend because you don't need it. You want to come and contribute to development of your country. And as I travel far to meet this diaspora association, I see the urge. They want to come. We want to come. They've tried, multiple governments have tried to do this. This is the first time we're making it reality. This is another landmark achievement by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A lot of things that previous governments have tried that never came to reality. We're seeing this come into fruition. A lot of things are changing. So this Diaspora Bridge initiative will cover every sector in STEM, and we will advance it later. We've gotten a lot of enthusiasm. People, if you came to where it was launched yesterday, literally almost 600 or 800 people came from the diaspora.
How many so far have registered?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. People are registering every minute. But I can tell you, as of yesterday, before we launched, 150 tertiary institutions in Nigeria have registered to use the platform. Right. They've done their needs assessment. They know where the areas of need that they want this diaspora professional to help them. And let me also reiterate what you've just asked. Can people locally who want to contribute help other institutions use the platform? Absolutely, yes.
All right, fantastic. My major concern here is that all of this infrastructure, all of this initiative will rely so much on the digital and internet infrastructure. And we know what is going on. We know the penetration, internet penetration in Nigeria. We know that some of their classrooms, there are no chairs, there are no blackboards, there are no electricity. Are you fixing those infrastructure first?
Let me tell you, this is a government. This is the one government. We're running a one government approach. Everything is all connected. You need data to deliver this to the schools. And we also, I haven't even spoken to you about, I haven't talked about what we're doing with the live online lessons that we're going to be delivering to primary schools, junior secondary schools, and senior secondary schools, to the remotest part of this country. We have best teachers in Abuja that will be teaching those courses, mathematics, English, arithmetic, chemistry, physics, biology. But you have to deliver this real data. You can't expect somebody in the rural part of the country to pay for this data. So what have we done as a government? We're using what is called ISP, Internet Exchange Point. The infrastructures are there all over the country. The government invested heavily on it, but now we've gotten an EdTech company. What that company is working on for us now, we have an MOU that we're going to be signing soon. That company will now use the ISP, Internet Exchange Point, create a Federal Ministry of Education EduTech platform where everybody will go to, will log to, and it will be free data to them.
But what about that is if they have electricity?
But we're using, but guess what? We're solarizing our tertiary institutions. By the end of
How many have you done to?
We've done 28, and they are upgrade.
Out of the 67?
Yes, we've done 28. And by the end of this year, we'll be doing almost, literally 70% of our tertiary institution will be on
upgrade. Just give me a moment. Let's take a break, Minister.
Okay.
Just a few more questions on the Bridge platform. I'm excited about the possibilities. For those of us who have enjoyed some kind of foreign education, and you will imagine that it's going to be good for Nigerians to also see the flexibility, the fluidity, the ease of education, other than the rigor of sitting on no chair, no table, classrooms in Nigeria, and no electricity, and you're sweating. Education with rigor and pain. That's part of what a lot of Nigerians face. But if you say this is working, and you say Nigerians can benefit, the child of the rich or the poor of the poorest can benefit from public schools. And this government says they're also giving loan facility to students in the NEL fund. Good things are here, actually. But how does it work? We need to make it better. We're going to break, everyone. And when we return, more conversation with the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa. Join us again, everyone. conversation with the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa. Thanks so much, Honorable Minister, for tonight.
Thank you.
Of course, we can see the Diaspora Bridge platform. You can get on it and navigate wherever you may be watching tonight to see what this is all about. And of course, you can get into the stream of education that is beyond borders. And in all of this, the question would be, you're having this interconnectivity, but some lecturers in Nigeria are complaining of non-payment of salaries. I just got a message from Unizik, a lecturer saying, why are you bringing people, or why are you introducing people to Nigeria, but you are not paying the salaries of the lecturers here?
We're paying salaries. We're paying salaries regularly. What's just happened is that after the universities, after the tertiary institutions clamored to go off IPs, which was very restrictive to them, President graciously agreed to that. They go off IPs. They are now on GIFMIs, so that they have better control of their funds. Once they went from IPs to GIFMIs, the way government pays its salary, they start from the 25th of the month. They pay people on IPs as first-line priority. And that's why what happened in the last 6 months is I'm not happy about it. They've been paid around the 8th, the 9th of the following month. I've met with the coordinating minister for economy, which in his promise as recent as 2 Fridays ago, he's promised me that he would prioritize the way our tertiary institutions lecturers are paid. So they'll be paid early. I'll use this medium to apologize to them that please, for them to, and plead with them to be patient with us as a government. We're working to ensure that you get paid much earlier into the month, or probably before the last day of the previous month. We're working on that. I've met with the Minister for Finance, and he's giving me assurance that that will be taken care of.
Can you also?
But they're paid, but we're paying them. It's just delayed. We're paying.
Can you promise Nigeria, because a lot of us suffered ASUU strike, that not again in this country, create a system where lecturers will not go on strike? It's unheard of. This is what this president has mandated us to do. The president has directed that not again, and I'll borrow your word, not again ever in this country will ASUU or a tertiary institution like trade unions go, teachers, lecturers go on strike. And because it's not promised, it's just not promising. There has to be a lot of relationship building with this trade, with ASUU, NASU, SANU, COISU, everybody. And beyond that, the government demonstrating goodwill, government meeting its obligation to these unions. And that's what has been lacking in the past government. They sit with this union, they're very good people. They sit, they agree, they go and say, tell us when you're going to implement this. But over the years, government will just renege on those agreements. But that's not what we're doing now. We're talking with them actively. All the president of the union, most of them, they're on first dial to me. They have my number, I have their number. We're coinciding, we're talking. Even when people carry fake news of ASUU being on strike, which they've never intended to go on strike lately, we haven't met all their requests, but we're working assiduously to meeting those requests. Minister, let's talk about the reforms that you promise within the education sector. Our classrooms, the performance of school, because part of what he said will happen with the Diaspora Bridge is that it will increase the world ranking of Nigeria. And Nigeria's ranking is very poor at the moment in terms of classroom administration, quality of education. What do we know now?
Now, you're very correct. Go to 30 years ago, 40 years ago, several Nigerian public universities were ranked in the top 100 universities in the world. Now, in the last 10 decades, none. What we're now working on is to ensure that we reclaim those kind of achievement back. We're pushing and working with the universities. They're pushing them really hard. We've deployed better transparency and governance. They're reporting their data now, the student enrollment, their fund allocation, their research papers, the endowment. Those are some of the things that you need to be ranked. And also, we're also improving the quality of education delivery. I told you for the first time, we've mandated all our tertiary institutions to use to deploy the learning management system, the number one learning management system in the world, and I've put a deterrence to that. If they don't deploy it, their ICT, telephone ICT will be withheld. We've seen a lot of them deploying that. We're using technology. Part of it, we've also engaged NUC to really restructure the curriculum, the way they do the accreditation, to change from in-person teaching alone to blended teaching and online teaching. We're also pushing our university to open more access and do more of online teaching. We're improving with TED Fund. We've stopped training our lecturers outside the country. We're using those funds to train them locally. We've identified 28 Center of Excellence, 28 universities that are Center of Excellence in Nigeria now, including public and private universities. We're sending these elect faculty members to those institutions. Each of those universities that we've identified as Center of Excellence, they're good in unique areas. You might be very good in mechanical engineering. You might be very good in law. So that's where we're building capacity in those areas. So as we do this,
on the dashboard. And I imagine that there is Harvard, there is MIT, and there is also there's Princeton. There is all of these top-class universities, and they have their strength area. And one will wonder how you're going to be able to have this blend and achieve area-focused improvement. But in your own dashboard, only 0.06% of classrooms across federal schools are considered usable.
No, I wanted to show you those dashboards to demonstrate technology.
Okay.
Data, those data are not, the data here, they're not the correct data. We're still entering the data.
Okay.
But I wanted to show you this data today. For the first time in the history of our country, we now have a digital platform where our foundation, our primary school, junior secondary school, senior secondary data are now being entered digitally. This is on the cloud. Previously, what we call the annual school census are being manually collected across hundreds of thousands of our primary schools across the country. We've moved that quickly. In 11 states now, we're collecting this data digitally. I wanted to show you that we're moving. We're using technology.
So from your office, on your own dashboard, you can see what is going on across the federal institutions.
No. Actually, I'm talking about foundational level. I'm talking about primary school level now. I can see to the ward now. So this is the state. This is data from one state. But pardon me, Nigerians, we're just still entering this data. I'm very excited about this technology-based platform because, like a president would say, if you don't use data, it's like you're flying blind.
So there is a data I saw
evidence-based
from
data.
Kaduna State. I see one from Kashia local government area. Yeah. I see one from Awon.
If you can scroll down, if you can scroll down, this is
from Kaduna State.
And I can sit in my office, look at the data, the number of pre-primary school students registered from a pre-primary, Kurani school, and Shangara school, GSS, SSS, vocational, number of students registered there. Go to the local government. If you go to the
you have a local government dashboard too.
Yes.
Up to the local government.
Up to the ward level. Yes. Next, could you scroll up and see let's see those.
This from a state. This is a state data.
But these data are not clean data yet. We just rolled out this dashboard. We continue to enter the data in the next 2-3 weeks. All those data, all the data.
But it can only be seen from your own dashboard for monitoring purposes.
No. All the commissioners, all the suburb chairmen, the governors can see it. At the LGA level, they can see it. They can see, they have different level of access. Look at data, this is Kashia local government. Go to them, we can see to the ward level. Go to the next slide. This is what we call evidence-based planning. We can plan based on evidence. We know we can plan, we can intervene, and then see what our intervention, the result of our interventions, and monitor our outcomes in an evidence-based manner. So look at, we have data on teachers, at the state level, at the local government level, even at the ward level. I can dial to the primary school that you went at your ward level.
To troubleshoot. And see the performance. It can give you a graphical performance at the end of the term, at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
To see how the school is doing. And you can troubleshoot to say, why is this school performing at this level? Why is this state not up to par?
Amazing. And one more important thing that we're trying to now see, we'll see the number of which this data, we've made them so granular. We're entering the students' data there. So we can monitor the number of students that got into primary school, see how they progressed through their education journey, the ones that went to junior secondary school, senior secondary school, or vocational college. As they're dropping out, we're going to now say, why are they dropping out? Be able to intervene more quicker so that we can stop this high burden of out-of-school
18 million, yeah, I'm going to get it. That's what UNICEF is saying, the figure UNICEF is giving, 18 million out-of-school children. Do you have your eyes on, what about the Almajiri schools? Are you reactivating?
Yes.
How many of these children have you been able to take out of the streets in the last year?
And I'll tell you, this is impressive. Now, it depends on the data. We're looking at 15 million data. The 15 million out-of-school children, both out-of-school and Almajiri.
That is what the federal government data is saying.
That's what the data, we're using UNESCO data. Okay. But that's the problem. When you allow other people to tell your story, that's what we've done now is we're taking charge. We are now building our own database that's going to be validated, that's correct. But as I sit here now, we've gone to do mapping of out-of-school children in 7 states. And I can tell you that I don't even think we have 15 million out-of-school children. The number is much lower than that. I just met with the Almajiri and out-of-school, the executive secretary of the National Commission of Almajiri and out-of-school children yesterday. They went to some state, Edo, Abia. They're even finding it difficult to find out-of-school children. So far, in 7 states, we've only been able to map out 700,000. So this burden of out-of-school children, we've moved several out of school. We're seeing those data and positive data, significant improvement. But that's why we're deploying technology platform.
All right.
In a few months from now, I'll tell you confidently, Shane, we've moved 1 million people, 1 million children from the street to school. Right. And I'll tell you where those students are, with geotagging them to their household using biometric, so we know where those kids are.
Minister, give me a moment, please. We need to go on another break, and when we come back, I'd like to know the entry age requirement for secondary school and tertiary institution. There seems to be a lot of controversy. And what we saw in JAMB and WAEC, where students were writing exams in the middle of the night with candle and lanterns. Appalling. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Everyone, our closing moment now with the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa. Quickly, Minister, clarify for us these age controversies.
Okay, thank you. And I'll try and cover as much as I could, because you reeled out several things that you wanted us to talk about. But before I clarify the school age admission to GSS, let me tell you, I just got confirmation that Bayero University lecturers were paid yesterday. Okay. So my meeting with the Minister for Finance is already yielding results. He promised me just like 2 Fridays ago that he would prioritize lecturers' payment. Bayero, you can fact check me. Lecturers in Bayero University, Kano, got paid yesterday. So got paid. His promise was that he wants everybody to be paid before the end of the month. Okay. So we're paying now.
Tomorrow is the last day of the month.
But they got paid. So, and I'm sure several of our tertiary institutions would have been paid. And now to clarify, the admission age to JSS is 10 years. It's not 12 years. It was fake news, it was malicious news that was sent out, and the Ministry of Education quickly sent a clarifying press statement to that. So to get admitted from primary 6 to JSS 1, it's 10 years.
What about 10 years into secondary school? What about university?
University remains 16 years.
16 years.
We'll clarify that. There's a guideline. We have the Federal Ministry of Education guideline on that. So that's all. That's settled.
Yeah. Are you trying to balance the entrance period in all institutions, because every institution just have a staggered,
and that's what caused that is just now, because in fact some institutions still have two sets of students in one academic session, and it was because of the previous problem we had with strike in our universities. But since the last 24, 26 months, the country, our tertiary institutions have gone the longest without strike. Look back 10, 15 years, this is just no coincidence. This is what? The engagement, the way we engage our unions, our academic and non-academic unions.
It's supposed to be October entry. That's when you enter into university. October, that's October usually. And are you trying to return all schools, all tertiary institutions to that?
Absolutely. And that's what's happening now. As we've gone for 2 years now, with no strike, there's been significant balancing. In several of our universities, several of our other polytechnics and colleges of education.
You need to come back. You need to come back. There's so much to talk about, but we're totally out of time. Thank you so much. It's good to see you again, Dr. Tunji Alausa, the Honorable Minister of Education. Thank you so much indeed for your time. And thank you everyone for watching. I'm Sean Okemale. God bless Nigeria.